Welcome to Sleepy Loon Channel, a quiet harbor at the edge of your day where stories drift slowly and the world softens into shadow. Tonight, we begin a calm descent into one of the most remote and mysterious places on Earth, a place so deep and silent that it feels almost like a dream. As you settle into your pillow, allow your breathing to slow, steady and gentle, like small waves folding onto a distant shore. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the Pacific Ocean at night. The horizon stretches endlessly, a smooth line separating dark water from a darker sky. Moonlight spills across the surface in a silver path, trembling softly with each ripple. Beneath this quiet surface lies the deepest known point on our planet, the Mariana Trench, hidden far below, carved into the ocean floor over millions of years. For now, we do not rush downward. We simply float on the surface, listening to the subtle rhythm of water moving against itself. The air is cool, calm, and vast. Somewhere nearby, a research vessel drifts quietly, its lights dimmed, its presence gentle against the immensity of the sea. From its deck, a small submersible waits patiently, round and strong, built to travel where sunlight cannot reach. You step inside without hurry, carrying only curiosity and calm. The hatch closes with a soft, muted sound, sealing the cabin into a peaceful sphere of light. Inside, the space is compact but comforting. Instruments glow in soft blues and greens, steady and reassuring, like distant stars. The submersible begins its descent. At first, the water outside the viewing window glimmers with reflected moonlight. Silver patterns dance and break apart as the surface drifts farther above. Tiny bubbles rise past the glass, slipping upward toward the world you've just left behind. The motion is slow and continuous, like an elevator moving gently through layers of quiet. Sunlight lingers for a time, pale beams reaching down through the water in long, wavering columns. They sway with the current, stretching thinner and softer as you sink deeper. Your breathing matches the movement, slow inhale, slow exhale, steady and unforced. Gradually, the blues deepen. The bright sapphire of the upper ocean shifts into a darker cobalt, then into a rich indigo. Fish pass briefly through the fading light, flashing silver before dissolving into shadow. A translucent jellyfish drifts by, its bell pulsing softly, its delicate tendrils trailing like threads of silk. There is no urgency in its movement. Everything here seems guided by patience. The deeper you travel, the more the outside world quiets. The surface sounds disappear completely, replaced by the faint, steady hum of the submersible. It is a low vibration, constant and soothing, like distant thunder far beyond a horizon. Soon, sunlight no longer follows. You enter the midnight zone, where darkness becomes complete. Yet this darkness is not empty. Small sparks begin to appear in the distance, tiny flickers of bioluminescent life. They blink gently, like stars in an underwater sky. Some glow for a moment before fading. Others pulse rhythmically, as if communicating in a language made of light. The submersible's exterior lamps cast a narrow beam ahead, illuminating drifting particles suspended in the water. They resemble dust motes floating in a quiet room, rising and falling in slow, graceful patterns. As you continue downward, imagine the immense column of water above you, kilometers upon kilometers, layered in silent weight. The pressure outside the hull increases steadily, thousands of tons pressing from every direction. And yet inside, there is warmth, safety, and stillness. The vessel is designed for this environment, carefully engineered to withstand what lies beyond it. You are held securely within its rounded walls, protected and calm. There is comfort in this contrast, vast pressure outside, gentle quiet within. Depth markers glow softly on the instrument panel, 1,000 meters, 2,000, 3,000. Time feels different here, less urgent, less defined. There are no clocks to watch, no schedules to keep, only the steady descent and the rhythm of your breathing. Occasionally, a strange shape appears at the edge of the light, a small fish with luminous markings, or a delicate creature almost transparent against the dark. They move slowly, conserving energy in this world where food drifts down from above like invisible snowfall. The water outside has now turned velvet black. The beam of light seems to dissolve quickly into the surrounding darkness, swallowed just a few meters from the window. Yet even in this profound shadow, there is a sense of quiet life, of ecosystems adapted to extremes. Far below lies Challenger Deep, the deepest point within the Mariana Trench, nearly 11 kilometers beneath the waves. We are still descending toward it, gently and without haste. Allow yourself to sink with us, not physically, but mentally, into this calm and ancient space. The ocean has existed for billions of years, shaping the planet in slow, patient movements. Trenches formed as tectonic plates shifted gradually, one sliding beneath another in a process too slow to feel. The Mariana Trench is not a sudden crack, but a sweeping valley carved over unimaginable time. And now you drift toward it, wrapped in silence. The hum of the vessel remains steady. The lights glow softly. Outside, darkness stretches in every direction, vast but not threatening, simply deep and still. Let your thoughts become like the particles floating in the beam, moving gently, settling slowly. There is nowhere else you need to be. No surface noise can reach you here. Only the quiet descent, the steady rhythm, and the peaceful knowledge that you are safe, suspended in a calm sphere of light, drifting deeper into the most tranquil place on Earth.
In this second chapter of our descent, we continue drifting gently downward, leaving even the faint memory of the surface far above us. The submersible moves with calm precision, lowering meter by meter into the immense and silent ocean. Outside the window, darkness surrounds us completely now. There is no trace of sunlight, no hint of the world above. And yet, this darkness does not feel empty. It feels soft, like a vast curtain drawn across the sea, quiet and protective. The beam of the submersible's light stretches outward in a narrow cone, revealing countless tiny particles suspended in the water. They drift lazily, rising and falling in slow motion, like dust in a still room illuminated by a single lamp. Your breathing remains steady, slow inhale, gentle exhale. The rhythm matches the steady descent. The instruments inside the cabin glow in muted blues and greens, their displays calm and unwavering. 4,000 meters below the surface now. The water outside is just above freezing, yet it remains liquid under the immense pressure pressing in from every direction. That pressure is almost impossible to imagine, hundreds of times greater than what we feel at sea level. But inside this small sphere, there is warmth, stability, and quiet. The hull holds firm, carefully designed for this purpose. You are safe within it, surrounded by stillness. A faint flash appears in the distance, then another. Tiny pulses of blue-green light blink briefly before fading into black. These are living sparks, creatures producing their own light in the endless night. Bioluminescence is common in these depths, a silent language made of brief glows and gentle flickers. Some creatures use light to lure prey, others to communicate, and some to disguise themselves against the faint shimmer from above. Each flash is delicate and momentary, like a star appearing and disappearing behind clouds. The submersible continues downward, 5,000 meters. The sense of time begins to soften here. Without sunlight or shadows, there is no visible passage of hours. There is only motion, steady and unhurried. A small fish drifts into view at the edge of the light. Its body is slender and dark, almost blending into the surrounding blackness. Along its sides, tiny glowing dots form a subtle pattern, like distant lanterns marking its shape. It pauses briefly, hovering in the beam, then turns slowly back and disappears again into the deep. Imagine the vast column of water above us, layer upon layer, kilometer upon kilometer, pressing downward in complete silence. Above that water lies wind and sky, continents and cities, but none of that reaches here. Sound travels differently in the ocean, carrying far across great distances, yet at this depth, everything feels hushed. The submersible emits only a low, steady hum, a quiet vibration that becomes almost comforting in its consistency. 6,000 meters now. The darkness feels familiar rather than unknown. A translucent jelly drifts past, its bell pulsing gently, its long, delicate tendrils trailing behind it like fine threads. When the light touches its surface, faint colors shimmer briefly before fading. It moves without hurry, conserving energy in a world where food is scarce. Most nourishment arrives from above as marine snow, tiny fragments of organic matter that sink slowly from the upper ocean. Picture that gentle snowfall now, descending through kilometers of water, drifting down for days before reaching the deep. The ocean at this depth is vast beyond comprehension, yet it feels intimate through the small circle of glass before you. Everything outside the beam remains hidden, not in a threatening way, but in a peaceful one. The unknown is simply vast, not urgent. 7,000 meters. The pressure increases steadily, yet inside the cabin, nothing changes. The air remains calm, the lights remain soft, your breathing remains slow. The Mariana Trench was formed by tectonic forces over millions of years as one great plate of Earth's crust slid beneath another. The movement is incredibly slow, measured in centimeters per year. Even here, at extreme depth, the planet is not still. It is shifting gradually, reshaping itself in silence. There is something deeply soothing about that slowness, about change that happens without noise or haste. Another brief flicker of bioluminescence glows in the distance, then fades. It feels almost like drifting through an underwater sky, surrounded by scattered, living stars. The submersible continues its steady descent towards the deepest valley on Earth. Outside, particles float in the beam like slow falling snow. Inside, there is only warmth and protection. Let yourself drift with this motion. There is nowhere else to be, nothing else to consider. The world above is distant and quiet. Here in the deep, everything moves gently. The descent is smooth and patient, like sinking into a soft mattress at the end of a long day. And as we continue downward through the silent water, allow your thoughts to slow as well, floating, settling, becoming lighter, carried calmly toward rest in the steady embrace of the deep ocean night.
In this third chapter of our journey, we move deeper still, approaching the most remote and least visited place on Earth. The submersible continues its steady descent, lowering us through the final kilometers of dark water toward the floor of the Mariana Trench. Outside the window, the beam of light feels smaller now against the vastness, dissolving quickly into black. There is no sense of direction beyond up and down, and even those feel abstract here. You are suspended in a column of water so immense that it seems almost endless, yet the movement remains gentle, controlled, calm. 8,000 meters below the surface, the depth indicator glows softly inside the cabin. The pressure outside is immense, beyond ordinary imagination, thousands of tons pressing evenly against the hull. But the sphere around you remains steady and strong. There is a quiet reassurance in that strength. The ocean may be powerful, but this vessel was made for this purpose. Inside, the air is still. The lights are dim and soothing. Your breathing matches the slow rhythm of descent. A faint shape appears in the distance, something moving carefully at the edge of the beam. As it drifts closer, you notice long, delicate limbs extending outward like fine threads. It is a deep-sea creature, pale and almost translucent, perfectly adapted to this extreme world. It does not dart or rush. It simply floats, adjusting its position with minimal effort, conserving energy in a place where every movement matters. After a moment, it slips back into darkness, becoming part of it once more. 9,000 meters now. We are entering the Hadal Zone, the deepest layer of the ocean, named after the ancient word for the unseen underworld. And yet, there is nothing ominous here. The darkness feels steady, complete, almost protective. The beam of light reveals drifting particles that shimmer briefly before fading away. These
tiny fragments have likely fallen from far above, part of the endless marine snow that nourishes life even here. Imagine how long they have traveled, falling slowly through kilometers of water, settling gently toward the ocean floor. The submersible hums quietly as it descends. Occasionally, there is a soft creak as the hull adjusts to the pressure. These sounds are subtle, rhythmic, reassuring. They remind you that you are enclosed within something solid and dependable. Outside, the water temperature hovers just above freezing, yet it remains liquid under the crushing weight. Everything here is shaped by pressure, biology, chemistry, even time seems altered by it. 9,500 meters. The descent slows slightly, becoming even more delicate. In the distance below, something begins to take shape, a faint change in texture within the darkness. At first, it is barely visible, but gradually the beam reveals a pale, soft landscape emerging from black. The sea floor of Challenger Deep is near. 10,000 meters. The ocean floor becomes clearer, a wide plain of fine sediment stretching outward in all directions. It looks almost like snow-covered ground under a night sky. There are no towering cliffs here, no sharp peaks, just a quiet, expansive valley resting beneath unimaginable weight. The submersible lowers the final distance with care, stirring a gentle cloud of silt as it touches down. The sediment rises in a soft swirl and then slowly drifts back into place. We have arrived at the deepest known point in Earth's oceans. Here, nearly 11 kilometers below the surface, the world is silent in a way few humans have ever experienced. Above us lies the entire ocean, vast and heavy, yet down here there is stillness. The beam of light sweeps slowly across the seabed, revealing subtle tracks in the sediment, faint impressions left by small creatures that move across this plain. Life exists even here. Tiny amphipods crawl along the surface, nearly transparent, perfectly adapted to this extreme world. It does not dart or rush. It simply floats, adjusting its position with minimal effort, conserving energy in a place where every movement matters. After a moment, it slips back into darkness, becoming part of it once more. The instruments inside the submersible glow softly, reflecting off the curved interior walls. Depth, nearly 10,900 meters. Temperature, just above freezing. Pressure, immense. And yet, you feel calm, safe, held within this small sphere of light at the bottom of the world. Imagine the tectonic forces that created this trench over millions of years. Far beneath the seabed, massive plates of Earth's crust shift slowly, one sliding under another in a patient, unstoppable motion. The trench itself is a product of time beyond human scale. Down here, you sense that vastness, not as something overwhelming, but as something steady and enduring. The silt cloud settles fully now, restoring the plain to its quiet state. The beam of light reveals only a small circle of visibility, beyond which lies complete darkness. It is not threatening, it is simply deep. Let yourself rest here for a moment at the floor of the ocean. The submersible is still. The hum is soft and constant. Above you, kilometers of water rise toward the distant surface, but none of that movement disturbs this calm valley. Your thoughts can settle just as the sediment did, slowly, gently, without effort. At the deepest place on earth, there is no urgency, only stillness. And in that stillness, you can allow yourself to drift, calm and quiet, carried by the steady embrace of the deep.
In this fourth chapter, we remain at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, resting gently on the quiet floor of Challenger Deep. The submersible is still now, its descent complete, its small lights casting a soft circle across the pale sediment. Outside the window stretches a wide and silent plain, fine silt spread evenly like powdered snow beneath an endless night sky. The cloud we stirred upon landing has fully settled, and the water around us is calm once more. There are no waves here, no tides you can feel, only the immense and steady presence of the ocean resting above. Imagine the weight of that water again, not as something heavy or threatening, but as something protective. Kilometer upon kilometer of ocean rises above this point, forming a vast, layered ceiling. The pressure outside is immense, far beyond anything experienced at the surface, yet it presses evenly from all directions. There is balance in that evenness. The hull of the submersible holds firm, curved, and resilient, designed to endure this environment. Inside, everything remains unchanged. Soft instrument lights, steady air, quiet warmth. You are safe here, wrapped in stillness at the deepest known place on Earth. The beam of light moves slowly across the sediment, revealing subtle textures in the sediment. It is not rough or rocky here, but smooth and fine, shaped by the slow settling of particles over thousands of years. Each grain may have once floated near the surface before beginning its long descent through the water column, drifting down as part of the endless marine snow. Now those particles rest here, forming a soft blanket over the trench floor. A small movement catches your attention. Near the edge of the light, a tiny amphipod crawls across the sediment. Its body is pale and delicate, almost translucent. It moves carefully, adjusting its legs in slow, deliberate steps. Life here is not abundant, but it is persistent. These creatures are adapted to crushing pressure and near freezing temperatures. Their bodies are structured to function where few others could survive. Watching it move, you may feel a sense of quiet admiration, not dramatic or intense, just a calm recognition of resilience. The submersible's exterior lights dim slightly, conserving energy while maintaining a gentle glow. Beyond that glow lies complete darkness, a darkness that feels thick and velvety. If you imagine reaching out into it, your hand would disappear almost immediately from view. Yet that darkness is not empty. It contains drifting particles, faint currents, and life too small or distant to see. Far above this point, tectonic plates shift slowly, shaping the Earth over immense spans of time. The Mariana Trench itself was formed by subduction, where one great plate slides beneath another in a motion so gradual it is almost imperceptible. Even now, that process continues beneath us, deep within the planet's crust. There is something comforting about that slow movement,
change that happens quietly, steadily, without rush. The earth is always transforming, yet here at the bottom of the ocean, it feels timeless. A sea cucumber lies partially buried in the sediment, its soft body blending with the pale surroundings. It feeds gently, processing the fine material for nutrients carried down from above. Nothing here is wasted. Every fragment of organic matter is valuable. The ecosystem is delicate but balanced, sustained by the constant fall of marine snow and the patience of its inhabitants. Inside the submersible, the instruments glow with steady readings, depth near 11,900 meters, temperature just above freezing. The numbers remain constant, unchanging, as if time itself has paused. There is no wind, no rain, no shifting light, only this quiet valley resting beneath unimaginable water. If you listen closely, you might hear a faint rhythmic sound, the subtle hum of life support systems, the gentle circulation of air. It becomes almost like a lullaby, steady and predictable. Outside, there are no sudden movements, no loud disturbances. Even the creatures that pass through the beam do so slowly, without haste. Imagine how rare this moment is. Very few humans have ever visited this depth, and yet through this gentle journey, you are here now, calm, observant, unhurried. The deepest place on earth is not chaotic or violent. It is quiet, understated, serene. It holds its secrets without urgency. The beam of light sweeps once more across the sediment, revealing faint tracks left by unseen animals. Then it returns to center, illuminating only a small patch of ground. Beyond that circle lies vast darkness, stretching outward and upward for miles. Let your thoughts mirror this landscape, wide, open, untroubled. Just as the sediment settled after our arrival, your mind can settle too. There is no need to move, no need to rise yet. The submersible remains still, resting at the bottom of the world. And in this profound stillness, wrapped in layers of water and silence, you can allow yourself to grow heavier, calmer, more at ease, drifting gently in the deep embrace of the ocean's quiet floor.
In this 5th chapter, we gently prepare to leave the ocean floor, though there is no rush in our movement. The submersible rests quietly for a few more moments on the soft sediment of Challenger Deep, as if taking one last peaceful breath at the bottom of the world. Outside the window, the pale seabed stretches into darkness, smooth and undisturbed once more. The tiny amphipod has disappeared beyond the reach of the light, and the faint tracks in the sediment remain as subtle reminders that even here, life continues in patient silence. Inside the cabin, the instruments glow steadily. The depth reading holds at nearly 10,900 meters. The temperature remains just above freezing. The hum of the vessel is soft and constant, like a distant lullaby. There is something deeply calming about being so far below everything familiar. No wind, no traffic, no distant voices. Only layers upon layers of water rising silently above. After a while, without any sudden motion, the submersible begins its ascent. Ballast releases gently, and you feel the slightest shift as buoyancy takes over. The ocean floor begins to drift downward out of view, not because it is moving, but because we are rising away from it. The beam of light lifts from the sediment and returns to open water, where particles once again drift lazily through the darkness. The ascent is even slower than the descent.
There is no urgency to return to the surface. The submersible rises meter by meter, steady and controlled. 10,800 meters, 10,600. The seafloor fades completely into blackness below, and we are once again suspended in the vast mid-water of the Hadal Zone. Outside, the darkness feels familiar now, almost comforting. Earlier, it may have seemed unknown, but now it feels like a quiet companion. Tiny specks continue to float past the window, illuminated briefly before vanishing. This is the gentle snowfall of the deep ocean, marine snow drifting downward from ecosystems far above. Imagine how long each particle has traveled, falling slowly through kilometers of water before reaching the trench floor. Some will settle there, others will be consumed by creatures along the way. A faint pulse of light flickers in the distance, then another. Bioluminescent organisms drift through the water, producing soft glows that appear and fade like underwater fireflies. The submersible passes 9,500 meters. The pressure remains immense outside, but with each gradual rise, it lessens slightly. Inside, nothing changes. The air remains calm, the temperature steady, the lights dim and warm. You may notice how the steady upward motion feels different from descent. Rising feels lighter, almost like exhaling after a long breath. Your body sinks more comfortably into rest as the submersible floats upward. The hum of the vessel continues in a low, soothing tone. There are no sharp movements, no sudden accelerations, only a quiet return through layers of water. At 9,000 meters, a small, pale creature drifts into view. It moves slowly, its body adapted to this extreme world. It does not react to the vessel's light with alarm, only curiosity. For a moment, it seems to hover in suspension, perfectly balanced between sinking and rising. Then it angles slightly and glides away into darkness. Far below us now lies the deepest valley on Earth, already fading into distance. Far above lies the surface world, still unreachable and distant. We remain between extremes, floating in the immense vertical ocean. The thought may arise that the ocean is not just wide, but tall, an entire hidden dimension beneath the waves. 8,500 meters. The darkness remains complete, but your mind may feel lighter, calmer. The repetition of numbers, the steady hum, the drifting particles, all of it creates a rhythm that encourages rest. Even the concept of depth begins to lose its intensity. It becomes simply a number, softly glowing on a screen. The submersible continues its gentle climb. Outside, the water is still near freezing, shaped by pressure and time. Inside, everything remains warm and quiet. Imagine the tectonic plates far beneath the seafloor, continuing their slow movement, shaping trenches and mountains over millions of years. The Earth is always in motion, yet it rarely rushes. There is comfort in that slowness. As we pass 8,000 meters, faint flashes of bioluminescence become slightly more frequent. Tiny blue sparks blink and fade, scattered in the dark like distant stars. The ocean feels vast, but not overwhelming, expansive yet peaceful. Let your thoughts rise as gently as the vessel. There is no need to surface quickly. The journey upward is long and patient. The deep still surrounds us, holding us in quiet suspension. And as we continue ascending through the silent layers of water, you may feel yourself drifting too, lighter, calmer, carried slowly upward through darkness that is no longer unknown, but soothing and serene.
In this sixth chapter, we continue our gentle ascent through the immense layers of the deep ocean, rising slowly from the hadal zone toward waters that, while still dark, feel subtly different. The submersible moves upward with steady calm, guided by quiet adjustments and careful balance. Outside the window, the darkness remains complete, yet there is a sense of gradual change, so slight that it is almost impossible to measure except by the soft glow of the depth indicator inside the cabin. 8,000 meters, 7,900. The numbers shift slowly, like the ticking of a very patient clock. The hum of the vessel continues, low and constant. It blends with your breathing, which has grown softer and more rhythmic. Inhale gently, exhale slowly. The ocean supports us from all sides, buoyant and steady. Though thousands of meters of water still rise above, the pressure outside is easing little by little. It is not something you can feel directly, but it is happening all the same, an invisible transition unfolding quietly around us. As we pass through 7,500 meters, faint pulses of light appear more frequently in the distance. Bioluminescent life thrives in these mid-depths, where darkness is absolute, but food drifts down in greater quantities than at the trench floor. A small squid glides into view, its body nearly transparent, its large eyes reflecting the beam of our light. Along its sides, subtle luminous patterns shimmer briefly before fading. It moves with delicate control, adjusting its position with slow pulses of its fins, then gently disappears into the surrounding black. The water here feels vast beyond imagination. If the ocean's surface is like a ceiling far above, then this midwater region is like an endless cathedral of shadow stretching in all directions. There is no seabed visible below, no surface above, only open water, deep and quiet. Suspended particles drift lazily through the beam, catching the light before dissolving into invisibility. Each one moves at its own pace, carried by currents too subtle to see. 7,000 meters now. The ascent remains smooth and unhurried. Time seems softer here, less defined. Without sunlight, there are no shadows shifting, no colors changing with the hour. Everything exists in a steady state of night. And yet, this night is not empty. It is alive with quiet motion. A comb jelly floats past, its delicate rows of cilia refracting the submersible's light into faint iridescent ripples. The colors shimmer gently, soft blues and hints of green, before vanishing as it drifts away. It does not produce its own light, but bends what little light reaches it, turning illumination into something delicate and fleeting. Watching it move, you may feel your own thoughts bending and softening, becoming less sharp, less insistent. 6,500 meters. The depth indicator glows steadily, marking our slow progress upward. Above us, kilometers of water still rise toward the distant surface. Below us, the trench lies hidden once more in darkness. We are suspended between extremes, neither at the deepest point nor near the light. This middle space feels balanced, almost weightless. The submersible makes a slight adjustment, barely noticeable, maintaining its smooth ascent. The hull no longer creaks as it did in the deepest regions. The pressure,
though still immense, is gradually easing. Inside, nothing changes. The air remains warm and even. The soft lights cast a calming glow across the cabin walls. At 6,000 meters, the surrounding darkness begins to feel subtly lighter, not brighter in any obvious way, but less dense, less absolute. This is still the deep ocean, far beyond the reach of the sun. Yet the gradual shift suggests we are moving closer to layers where faint traces of distant light will eventually filter down. A small school of fish drift briefly into view, their bodies dark but lined with faint photophores that blink in loose synchrony. They move together without hurry, maintaining gentle spacing, then scatter softly as the beam approaches, reforming again just beyond the light's edge. Their movements are fluid and calm, as if guided by an unspoken rhythm. The ocean here feels endless but not overwhelming. It cradles the vessel gently, holding it in suspension as we rise meter by meter. There is no sudden transition, no sharp boundary between zones, only gradual change, unfolding slowly and naturally. 5,500 meters. The numbers continue to fall, steady and reassuring. You may notice your body feeling heavier against your bed, as though gravity itself has softened into something comforting. Your breathing remains slow, the hum of the vessel steady. We continue upward through this vast shadowed cathedral of water, surrounded by drifting life and patient darkness. There is no need to hurry toward the surface. The ascent itself is peaceful, a slow return through layers of night. And as we rise gently through the deep ocean's quiet embrace, you can allow yourself to drift even further into calm, suspended, supported, and carried softly toward rest.
In this 8th chapter, our slow and peaceful ascent continues through the immense middle layers of the ocean. The submersible drifts steadily upward, carried by buoyancy and quiet control systems, rising meter by meter through the dark waters of the midnight zone. The depth indicator now reads just under 3,800 meters. Though the surface remains far above, we are gradually entering regions where life becomes more active and movement more frequent. Outside the viewing window, the darkness still surrounds us on all sides, yet it feels slightly different from the depths below. The water here contains more drifting organisms, more particles, more subtle signs of life. The beam of light from the submersible reveals a constant snowfall of marine snow, tiny fragments of organic material slowly falling from the world above. Some of these particles began their journey near the surface weeks ago, sinking slowly through kilometers of water. 3,700 meters. The ascent remains smooth and unhurried. The quiet hum of the vessel continues, steady and comforting. Inside the cabin, everything feels calm and stable, as if time itself has slowed to match the rhythm of the ocean. In the distance, a faint glow appears, then fades. A moment later, another small flash follows. These soft pulses are produced by bioluminescent organisms that inhabit these deep waters. Some use light to communicate, others to hide from predators, and some to attract prey in the endless darkness. Each brief glow appears like a tiny underwater star before dissolving back into the blackness. A delicate jellyfish slowly drifts into the light. Its body is nearly transparent, shaped like a fragile glass umbrella. Thin, trailing tentacles float behind it like strands of silk in slow motion.
As it moves, faint blue light ripples along the edge of its bell. The jellyfish pulses gently, expand, contract, drift, its movements slow and graceful, perfectly adapted to the stillness of the deep sea. 3,500 meters. The jellyfish glides past the window and disappears into darkness, leaving the water once again filled only with drifting particles. The ocean here feels vast beyond imagination. There is still no sign of the surface above, no hint of the seabed below. We remain suspended in a great vertical ocean, floating between two distant worlds. You may begin to notice how calm your breathing has become. The steady upward motion of the vessel feels soothing, almost like being carried slowly upward by a gentle current. There are no sudden changes, no sharp sounds, only the quiet mechanical hum and the occasional shimmer of life passing through the beam of light. 3,000 meters. At this depth, the ocean hosts an incredible variety of small drifting creatures. A group of tiny shrimp-like organisms flickers briefly into view, their bodies flashing with short bursts of light as they move. The flashes happen quickly, blink, blink, blink. Then the creatures scatter beyond the edge of the light, vanishing back into darkness. The submersible continues rising patiently. The pressure outside is still immense, yet it is far less than what we experienced at the bottom of the trench. The hull of the vessel remains strong and quiet, holding the warmth and calm of the cabin inside. 3,000 meters. Though sunlight still cannot reach this far, we are slowly approaching waters that are influenced by the world above. More organisms appear within the beam of light, small drifting fish, gelatinous creatures, and larvae carried by gentle currents. Each one moves slowly, conserving energy in this deep and quiet environment. A long, delicate siphonophore drifts past, its many segments glowing faintly as it moves. It looks almost like a floating chain of tiny lights, each segment working together as part of a larger colony. The entire organism stretches gracefully through the water, its motion slow and hypnotic. For a moment, it travels beside the submersible, then slowly fades into darkness. 2,800 meters. The depth indicator continues its gentle countdown. The ocean feels slightly more dynamic now, still calm, still quiet, but filled with more subtle motion. Marine snow continues falling around us, drifting downward like soft underwater dust. Each particle carries nutrients that feed the ecosystems of the deep sea, supporting life even in the darkest layers of the planet. The ascent remains steady and peaceful. The vessel floats upward through the immense water column, passing through ancient layers of ocean that have existed for millions of years. Above us, thousands of meters of water still separate us from the surface and the faint glow of the sun. But for now, we remain here in the quiet middle depths, surrounded by drifting life and soft flashes of bioluminescence. The ocean continues to carry us upward gently, its calm rhythm guiding the journey. And as the submersible rises slowly through this peaceful underwater night, the quiet movement of the deep sea invites your thoughts to grow softer and slower, drifting gently like the marine snow around us as the journey toward rest continues.
As our quiet journey through the deep ocean slowly reaches its final chapter, the submersible continues its calm and steady rise toward the distant surface. For a long time, we traveled through the silent darkness of the deepest waters on Earth, far below storms, sunlight, and the busy world above. Now,
After drifting gently upward for hours, the ocean around us begins to change once again. The depth indicator glows softly inside the cabin, 1,000 meters. The number slowly continues to fall as the vessel rises. Outside the window, the darkness that once felt endless has softened into deep shades of blue. It is still quiet here, still peaceful, but the water carries a faint glow that was absent in the deepest parts of the trench. Far above, sunlight touches the surface of the ocean and begins its long journey downward through the water. Most of that light will never reach the depths we explored earlier, but here, in these upper layers of the ocean, a small portion of that distant sunlight filters down like a gentle morning glow. Tiny fish move through the water around us, their bodies gliding slowly and effortlessly. Some swim in loose schools, turning together in smooth curves as if guided by a shared rhythm. Others drift alone, moving calmly through the open water. The submersible continues rising without hurry. The ocean does not rush, and neither do we. The gentle hum of the vessel remains steady, soft enough that it almost disappears into the quiet atmosphere inside the cabin. It blends with the slow rhythm of your breathing, creating a calm and peaceful moment suspended between the deep sea below and the bright world above. 800 meters now. Outside the window, small particles drift through the water, catching the faint light before slowly falling away again. These particles have traveled long distances, sinking slowly from the surface world. Some began their journey days or even weeks ago. The ocean is full of these quiet, slow movements, things falling, drifting, rising, and circulating in patient cycles that continue every moment of every day. A jellyfish pulses gently nearby, its transparent body barely visible in the dim blue water. With each soft movement of its bell, it glides forward a little farther, trailing delicate threads behind it. For a moment, it floats beside the submersible, then slowly drifts away into the surrounding ocean. 700 meters. The water grows a little brighter now, though the light remains soft and calming. The surface is still far above, but it is beginning to appear as a faint silver shimmer. Waves move slowly across it, shaping patterns that ripple through the filtered light. Down below us, thousands of meters of ocean stretch back toward the trench floor where our journey began. Somewhere deep beneath us lies the quiet valley of the ocean's deepest point, resting in permanent darkness. It remains there just as it always has, silent, mysterious, and undisturbed. But here, in these upper waters, the ocean feels lighter. Life moves more freely. Fish glide through open water. Tiny organisms drift in gentle currents. Everything feels calm and balanced, moving at the slow and steady pace of nature. 500 meters. The surface grows clearer above, reflecting the sky like a giant mirror. Light dances across the water, creating soft shifting patterns that spread gently through the ocean. The submersible rises slowly toward that shimmering boundary between ocean and air. Soon our journey will come to an end. Soon the hatch will open to fresh air and the sound of distant waves.
But before that moment arrives, there is still this peaceful pause, this quiet space between worlds. The deep ocean below remains calm and endless. The water around us glows softly with filtered sunlight, and the long journey from the deepest place on earth has slowly carried us back toward the light. So now, as our voyage gently comes to a close, allow your thoughts to drift just like the currents of the sea. Let the calm of the ocean stay with you. Let the quiet rhythm of the water guide you into deeper rest. Thank you for spending this peaceful journey with the Sleep Loom channel. And whenever you need a moment of calm, a quiet story, or a place to rest your mind at the end of the day, you are always welcome to return here again. For now, the ocean is calm, the journey is complete, and the night is peaceful. Good night.